Hey guys, how's it going? Luker back once again with a new top decks video. So if you guys have been paying attention to any Hearthstone related news, then you will have seen that there will be a balance patch coming on September 8th. There'll be quite a few changes. Secret Passage will only draw 4 cards. Cabal Acolyte will have 4 health instead of 6. Tome Goliath will now be a 5 attack minion with only 1 overload opposed to 2. Archwitch Willow will be decreased to an 8 mana minion opposed to 9, and it'll be a 5/5 instead of a 7/7. And then finally, Dark Lair is now a 2 mana 2/3 Refresh a Mana Crystal, instead of the previous iteration, which was a 3 mana 3/4 Refresh 2 when you take damage. Dark Lair refreshes the Mana Crystal when you take damage, of course. I think these changes are actually pretty big. They aren't any groundbreaking changes. They aren't probably as impactful as the Mind Render and Kael'thas nerfs, but I think they'll change the format up a little bit and inspire a little bit more innovation, especially in Wild, which Dark Lair is now dead. Dark Lair just got hit over the head with a shovel, probably unplayable in Wild. Anyways, I think these changes are really cool, so today I want to take you guys on a magical journey looking at some of the decks that I think you should try on day one. The first decks I'm going to look at will be decks that I think will be the most competitively viable, and then I'm going to have a little fun deck that, you know, I'm completely made up. I don't know how good it'll be, but I think it'll be fun. Obviously, guys, disclaimer, I have no clue what'll be good, as much as I wish I could time travel and tell you guys. Sadly, I can't. Elon Musk has not invented time travel yet. Probably give him a couple months and he'll have it down, though. But yeah, these decks should be fun. If you're looking for something to play, I definitely try them out. You can craft them if you want. I'm not sure if I would pull the trigger right away, but definitely try them out. I don't think the meta will change too much, but I think there could be a little bit of innovation here and there. So yeah, guys, let's jump right in, but before we do that, I guess we're not jumping right in. If you could please like and subscribe to the channel, it would help me a lot. I know I ask this every video, but I mean, it makes me happy and it really helps. Every time you guys like, subscribe, and comment on the video, it pushes it into more people's feeds and it helps me grow as a content creator. I'm spending a lot of time on these videos and a lot of mental energy on streaming all the time and doing this content, so as long as you guys enjoy it, I am happy, but I want as many people to enjoy it as possible, so if you guys can help me help you, we'll be vibing. But yeah, guys, let's jump right into deck number 1. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you with the first deck. Alright, so the first deck I want to take a look at today, guys, is Tempo Mage. I think Tempo Mage stands to gain quite a bit, even though none of the cards are being touched or nerfed. Obviously, if Tempo Mage had a card being buffed, it would probably do a bit better, but with Rogue and Zoo being touched, Tempo Mage has some room to grow and to play a little bit more. I think even with Cabal Acolyte being lowered, you might see, at least in the early few days, a bit less of all of these decks. People tend to stop playing decks once they're nerfed. Even if the nerf is super minor, people just stop playing the decks for a couple days because they're tilted, you know, their baby was touched, it was hurt. So I think Tempo Mage stands to gain quite a bit. A lot of its bad matchups are going to be weakening in play, and Tempo Mage is already just a strong deck. When other strong decks become worse, the other good decks just have time to shine. The deck that I think will be doing best is Killing All Day's Tempo Mage list. You can see it up on screen right here. I think it's just a pretty standard list, you know. You could even go as far as to say it's probably the optimal list. It has cards that deal well against aggro and deal good against slower decks. I think it might be interesting to see if we consider cutting maybe a copy of Devolving Missiles, or the only copy of Devolving Missiles rather, in place of like a second Conjurer's Calling. 2 Conjurer's Callings can be pretty expensive, but Devolving Missiles is like a bit worse if there's less Rogue and less Zoo and Ladder, so I think maybe a second Conj could be a good option. Honestly, I'm not too sure where the deck list will go itself, but I do think that Tempo Mage is a solid choice for Ladder. So if you're interested in playing some Mage, generating some random spells, this deck is probably for you. It can be a lot of fun. It can be kind of hard to play though. Like, don't let it fool you. Obviously, the deck seems to be very easy. You know, you play your cards, you draw some stuff, you generate random cards, but it can be hard to know when you need to go in. In some games, you'll have to play Shenvala on turn 3. Some games, you'll have to try to hold Shenvala for Shenvala coin sorcerers, dump all your spells. Some games, you might want to play Mana Cyclone for 2 cards. Other games, you want to pass 3 turns in a row and play it for 7. There's a lot of risk assessment. You really need to know what you're doing and what your opponent's doing. You have to understand matchups, and you have to understand game plans. If you know what's going on and you have a pretty thorough and concrete understanding of the meta game, though, I think that Tempo Mage is a solid choice for Ladder, and I definitely recommend trying it, or at least, you know, putting all of your life savings into crafting it golden and seeing how it does. Please don't blame me if it goes poorly. But yeah, Tempo Mage is the first deck that I think you should try out, and I think it will be the best deck for the first couple days at least, if not for all of our future in Scholomance Academy. So try it out, guys. Let me know how it goes. Alright, so the second deck that I think will gain a lot from this balance patch, I know a lot of you are probably going to not like this idea, but I think is Animal Druid. I know Druid's already pretty strong. I would argue that it's tier 1. I'd say it's probably like, before the nerfs, I'd say it's maybe like the 3rd or 4th best deck in the game. I think Priest is probably better, and I want to say Turtle Mage is a bit better, but that's like That might just be me being a little biased. But I know a lot of you might not like Druid, but I think Animal Druid gets quite a bit better. It loses its bad matchup against Warlock, and I don't want to say Rogue is necessarily a bad matchup, but they could blow you out of the game, especially if they're running Cult Neophytes. So yeah, you know, I think you lose, or you have 2 bad matchups that are at least average now. Druid, specifically Malygos variants, want to just kind of chill, ramp, and then kill your opponent's board, or kill your opponent. And when your opponent's like flooding the board with aggressive minions and hitting you, it kind of like makes you deviate from your game plan. So if these decks are slowed down, even just minorly slowed down, I do think that Druid gains quite a bit. So I do think that Animal Druid stands to gain quite a bit. It's kind of impossible to say what variant of Druid will be good, though, in the future. I think many people currently are playing the King Pharaohs, like, Wires list, which is just like Animal Druid, but you run King Pharaohs and Survival of the Fittest. But I still think Malygos Druid is probably the best variant. It gives you more game against Priest. I'd argue you're probably almost favored against Priest if you play Mally Druid. You might be like a bit less because they can dump your cards. But I would argue Mally Druid's the best variant, and after the nerfs, Mally Druid will continue to be the best variant. Just practice the deck and learn it. I know there's a lot of memes, haha, mana printer, go burr. You draw your mana ramp, Overgrowth, Wild Growth, Dragon Breath, or you lose. And I mean, that is kind of true, but there are a lot of intricate decisions aside from that, such as when to draw, when to go in, when to take an overdraw, when to overflow with a full hand, when to play for tempo, when to tempo Mally, when to go in with Omu, etc. There's a lot of stuff you have to think about. There's a lot more than just, haha, I play turn 7, GA, I win the game. There's a lot more than that. Regardless, though, I do think Druid will stand to be in a very good spot in the coming meta, so I would definitely suggest picking it up probably now to learn it, and then you can just ride to Legend, get some free wins after the balance patch. Hopefully you guys like Druid. If you're afraid of mana ramp and you don't like it, well, it might not be the meta for you, I'm sorry. But, you know, best of luck. So the third deck that I want to take a look at in terms of the decks that are going to be pretty decent, that are already like established decks, is what I think would be a form of Bomb Warrior. I think Bomb Warrior is already pretty good, as many of you know. It historically has done very well against Druid and Priest. But the issue is it kind of has a hard time against aggressive decks, and I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, oh, Luker, how does that make any sense? How does a Control Warrior deck lose to aggro decks? Well, it's not really a Control Warrior deck nowadays. It's kind of just like a aggressive bomb pressure deck. I don't know how to call it. It's like a mid-range deck. But aggressive decks like Weapon Rogue, even Stealth Rogue, and not so much Zoo as much, but just the pure aggressive decks. I guess Face Hunter would be a good example too. Just kill you. You don't even get time to interact with their stuff. You like pass, you hero power, maybe you course their cash. You coin a weapon and you're at like 10 health and you're like, shield block doesn't do it. And I think that historically, well, Control Warrior decks do well against aggro decks. It's kind of a different meta. The aggro decks can hyper cycle, they can kill you, they have these huge swing turns that you can't really answer. Zoo is about 50-50 against Bomb Warrior. I think Zoo has a lot of swing turns. If they do it super early, around like turn 3 or 4, it can be a little hard for you to answer because you can't brawl. And if they run Cult Neophytes, then it's definitely very slightly unfavored, probably like 48%, 47%. But regardless, I think losing these two matchups will help Warrior quite a bit. And if Tempo Mage is rising, and as I predicted, if Tempo Mage and Druid rise, then Bomb Warrior stands to gain a lot. Bomb Warrior performs very well against Tempo Mage, it's around a 60% matchup. And against Druid, it's like a 55%. So, you know, if they're rising, then Bomb Warrior will probably rise in response. Bomb Warrior will come up from the depths and be like, you know what, I'm in charge. You know, Patches is gone, but I'm taking over. And I really hope to see this. I think Bomb Warrior is kind of cool. I don't like the builds that are just like upgrade, punch your opponent. I think the more control-based ones where there's like actual decisions, I think those are pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how they perform. But again, I could be vastly wrong. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm hopeful that my predictions are right, because then I look like some kind of prophet. You know, what was the Pokemon? Xatu, I think? Xatu, the bird Pokemon that could see the future? That's me, you know? I'm a genius, I hope. We're going to find out. But yeah, those are the 3 decks that I think will be the best out of the established decks. So yeah, hopefully they do well, and hopefully I'm right. Alright, so the last deck that I want to talk about today is a bit different from the ones that were previously mentioned. So obviously, I know the video is the best 4 decks for ladder, but the first 3 were pre-established decks. You know, we had Druid, we had Bomb Warrior, and we had Tempo Mage. And I mean, obviously these decks have been played, I'm sure you guys are familiar with them if you played ladder at all. But the next deck is something that you probably actually haven't seen because it doesn't exist yet. I'm making it up right now on the spot. This is a freestyle. Pretend I'm a rapper, you know, I'm going in, I'm spitting it raw right quick. But the point is, I think that Quest Warlock might actually make a comeback. I know it's kind of hopeful because Quest Warlock in theory will have a bad matchup against both Bomb Warrior and Tempo Mage, but I think the Arcwitch Willow buff might produce some kind of Quest Warlock deck. There could be like a big Demon Warlock deck, but my thought process is with Arcwitch Willow being an 8 mana, it's obviously more playable. And with the 6 mana taunt Aranasai Broodmother, obviously tutoring it out of your deck is not so great because you don't get a healing effect, but you summon one from hand, you summon one from deck. So let's say you play it on curve. Let's say you only summon one. Maybe you have both in hand. You only summon one. And on curve, you're summoning an 8 mana 5/5 and a 4/6 taunt. That's like a lot more stats than you're supposed to get. There are some issues, obviously. You could be running more Artificer, and then that'll clunk up your deck with demons, and it prohibits you from running other demons. But I do think that you can build a deck in a way that Arcwitch Willow would be very good. Also, there's the upside. Sometimes you'll tap into it after finishing your quest, and now it's 0 mana. Then you win. So maybe the list will be a more tempo variant. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be a Handlock Warlock. But as you can see on screen, the list that I think for Quest Warlock will be playable is this, and I hope that it does well. I could be very wrong. I definitely would not suggest crafting this and like going out of your way to like be like, Mom, give me your credit card, Mom, please, I need money, I need Quest Warlock, Luker says it's the best deck. Please don't do that because I will look like an asshole when I'm wrong. It's probably like a tier 3 deck maybe, I don't know. But I do think it'll be fun, and I think that there's definitely something here, so experiment with it and see how it goes. Let me know how it goes in the comments below. You can scroll down in the video, just take your mouse, pick it up and scroll, and go into the comments and be like, Luker, this deck is insane, or Luker, I can't believe you did this. I took out a loan on my house, and now I'm going to poverty. I made Quest Warlock, it doesn't work, Luker, it's your fault. My bad, I hope that's not the case. Regardless though, guys, I hope that the Quest Warlock does well for you. If it does, please tell me. I'll be sure to be playing it. I think it's probably the first deck I'm going to try. If you're wondering why I didn't talk about Shaman too much, I think there is a Shaman deck. I don't really know what it is. I don't want to go too in-depth because like I'm not very good at building Shaman decks. They're kind of weird. They're very like finicky. You'll probably play some kind of like Totem Shaman, token-based Shaman with Totem Goliath. I think it's kind of cool that you can play Totem Goliath on turn 5, and then if it dies, you can Bloodlust still the next turn. Now that's only one overload. So yeah, I think there's something there. I don't know what it is. I'm sure Ike or Wire or someone will build us a deck, but we just have to wait for them to do that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my look into my best day 1 decks. I know 3 of them are obviously decks that you guys have seen. The builds might change a little bit, and the 4th one is a completely new deck that I invented, patented Luker technology. Again, no promises that these will be the decks, but I do think that they will perform pretty well. And if you have some extra dust or you already have the cards, I definitely recommend trying these. You can gain some sneaky legend points. I definitely recommend trying the decks out though before the balance patch drops, except for Warlock, you should wait for that one. But for the previous 3 decks, you should probably try them out and experiment with them so you can learn the matchups before you go into a new meta trying to gain some ranks. I mean, hey, if you just want to jump right in, go for it, but again, if you lose, tough luck, For real though, guys, if you did enjoy the video, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to do another one of these. I was going to do a patch rundown for the balance patch when it came out, but I woke up like 12 hours after it came out because I sleep 16 hours a day. And by the time I woke up, I was like, well, shit, guess I'm too late. So maybe for the next one, I'll do a balance patch rundown. It'll just be me looking at the changes and being like, yeah, this is good, this will do this will do this. But we'll see. It's kind of hard with a game like Hearthstone. It works a lot better in a game like League of Legends, per se. But hey, we'll see. If you guys enjoyed the video, though, please be sure to like it and subscribe. It gives me dopamine, and as you all know, dopamine's cool. Thank you for watching. This YouTube channel has been a huge success lately. It's been my dream, and I'm so happy to see it succeed. I know some of it's a little scuffed still because I'm still very, very Papega, but I'm learning. It's a wonderful ride. We learn together. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I think I've said that like 6 times, so why not 7? Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Peace out, Cub Scouts. Have a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoy the balance patch. This is Luker, signing off.